Hey everyone, welcome back to BioNexus Health podcast series Autism Uprooted. Today we will be speaking to devoted dad Ravi. Ravi is a scientist and a college professor, and he is a father of a 20-year-old young man with the autism spectrum disorder. It's been a pretty remarkable recovery in Ujjwal, and I'll just let Ravi tell us all about it, right? Ravi and Rupa are absolutely amazing. You might have heard them in one of our previous podcasts. They shared, little tidbits about Ujjwal's recovery. But today, it's fortunate that we have Ravi here with us to give us an insight into the complete journey. Sorry, I have a little bit of a throat issue today, but let's proceed. Let's welcome Ravi to today's podcast.
Welcome to the BioNexus Health podcast with Dr. Jodi A. Darshaw, who holds a PhD in integrative medicine, is board certified in integrative pediatrics, an internationally recognized pioneering clinician, and author. And now here's your host of BioNexus Health podcast, Dr. Jodi A. Darshaw.
Ravi, it would be best to, hear Ravi and Rupa's amazing journey from Ravi himself. So, hey, Ravi, how you doing? Welcome to today's podcast.
Thank you very much. Yes, I'm the only one. My wife is not available at this stage, but I can.
Okay.
I have discussed with her everything, and we have gone over things. So I kind of know what to say. So yes, Ujjwal is one of the older children on the spectrum, but me and Rupa have always been fighters, and we're going to fight till the end. And as I was telling you a little earlier, Dr. Dashore, I think the three of us are on the same hockey team, and
exactly.
Our purpose is to score goals, and we're going to fight till the end, till Ujjwal recovers. And that's our ultimate goal. So we have tried everything you can think of under the sun. I mean, we have tried supplements, even before we met you. I'm going back historically to where we were before. We have tried HBOT, we have tried oxygen therapy. I mean, not oxygen therapy, we've tried HBOT, which is a form of oxygen therapy. We've gone to Panama 4 times and tried stem cells. And of course, we were with your mentor, Dr. Bradstreet, for quite some time. And
were you? Okay.
And wow. Even to this day, I feel very bad about what happened to him, because he was an excellent doctor, and he had also helped us quite a bit. On his advice, we even did stem cells for some time. Unfortunately, they didn't work, but I think we kind of know why, and we'll see in the future whether we need to revisit that. But it's been quite a journey. We have tried everything, but in the end, Ujjwal's turnaround before we met you kind of came. The biggest issue with Ujjwal, and I think that is something we have been discussing with you to resolve, is, well, first and foremost, communication.
Right.
Okay. So some years ago, back in 2014, we heard about what they call the letterboard method of communication, first discovered by Soma, and she has had a lot of success with her child.
Yes.
When Ujjwal showed us that he can communicate in an alternative format, and we realized how smart he was, we proceeded with that, and that has opened quite a few doors, including Ujjwal obtaining a regular high school diploma and now taking online community college courses. It's a matter of him figuring out now what he wants to do, what career path he wants to follow.
Mm-hmm.
So that has definitely done it. At this stage, that doesn't mean we give up on speech. He goes to speech therapy and music therapy every week. Okay, and so the first and foremost objective, and that of course has to do a lot with your protocol as well, and I'll talk about your protocol too, is to break open the communication piece.
Exactly.
Once yeah, sorry, once that is broke open, once we succeed in that, I think it'll be more Ujjwal joining myself, my wife, and yourself in planning his future treatment.
I love that, Ravi. I love the way you put that. Ujjwal coming to the meetings and sitting and planning with us. What he wants to do with his future, with his health. So you went to Panama for stem cells 4 times. Excellent institution, but obviously it doesn't work for everyone. And one thing that I really admire about you and Rupa is that you've tried everything under the sun. You mentioned poor Dr. Bradstreet, absolutely brilliant man. Yes, one of my mentors, truly understood autism. He had, that's the key, I think, unless you've lived it yourself, I feel that way. It's very difficult to relate to another parent who is going through that. I think it's a big missing piece, because in this world, unfortunately, autism has become a big business, and
Exactly.
right. So it's very important to pick and choose your practitioners. And the one thing that I found important, like Bradstreet, Rosignol, they've lived it. They've been through it themselves. They've seen success, and they were able to relate to me, as a parent of a child on the spectrum, along with so many other things going on.
And
Right?
Dr. Bradstreet lived it also, just like me and you.
Exactly. And yes.
One more doctor I'll mention is, before we came to you, and we are in touch with him definitely, is Dr. Sandlin Lowe from the Amen Clinic, another very good institution, as you know. The
Good
history, and it's through him that we ended up coming to you. He also respects Panama a lot, and that's something that, as I said, we can think of in the future in our conversations with you. But before we get there, he treats autism, but he does not treat things like, another aspect I want to mention is he does not treat things like Lyme and mold.
Right, underlying infections, right.
But with all due respect to him, he referred us to another doctor in central New Jersey, northern New Jersey, Dr. Jedrowick. Very nice lady. She saw Ujjwal in person, and after that, she said, basically, at one point, she basically said, I'm too far away, and I can't necessarily agree with that because, with you also, I can't say we are close, but we're in the same state. But if you have to see Ujjwal in person, we can do it. But she said, please go and see Dr. Dashore. She will definitely help you. So the good thing about having interactions with you is, A, everything can be done virtually. B, all the supplements and things that you prescribe are available in your store. So I can essentially accomplish the entire protocol at home.
Right.
Okay, so that is definitely a key advantage. So given all that now, where do we proceed? Well, a few things, as I said. One is the communication barrier. If we knock that, I think that's going to be our biggest victory, which yourself, my wife, and myself are working on. The other thing is, I'll also say that as you have devised a protocol and you give it to us as a nice Word document, and I go category by category, nutrition piece, and this piece, and that piece.
Oh, no, wait. Actually, sorry. What I wanted to establish is, can you talk about some of the symptoms that that Ujjwal had when you came to me for the herbal protocol? And then, I know we ran a lot of labs, and I just want to see if we can talk a little bit about what we found in those labs. We don't need to name the labs, we can just discuss about the findings in the labs.
Oh, sure,
right?
sure. Okay.
So,
In fact, that kind of goes back to Dr. Lowe from Amen Clinic telling us that we need to look at Lyme and mold, but I don't treat
I
it.
see. Yes.
So,
Okay.
but yeah, okay. So I should get back to that
Okay.
connection. Okay, so Dr. Jedrowick, going back, referred us to you, and one of the first things you told us was, have you ever looked at Lyme and mold? And what we told you was Dr. Jedrowick told us there are no Lyme and mold issues, and you said, I need to run lab tests, and we need to, examine that again. Sometimes it's always good to revisit something because you never know. And lo and behold, you found out that Ujjwal does have Lyme and mold issues. So one of the first things we did, your protocol did was, and I asked you, what is your protocol doing? I mean, I can do the mechanics of the protocol, but I'm not in the health sciences. I'm by training a professor of electrical engineering, so I'm in a different field. So I told you, I can do the protocol, I can do the mechanics, I can administer the protocol, but what are you treating? And you told me I'm treating everything, the Lyme, the mold, the
co-infections, the toxins that we found, yes, along with the physiological changes and the organ stress that is brought on by these various co-infections and environmental toxins. So, without going into complete details of the protocol, I think that's what you're trying to say is that, I like to address everything in a fully rounded manner, right?
Exactly, very holistic, very distinct. So you basically told me, very clearly that you're treating everything. And I said, okay, great. I thought maybe in the beginning you're just focusing on one thing, but you said, no, you're treating everything. Okay, great. So many things that we did, we got our house tested for mold. And when we found mold in the house, we did mold remediation. We took your advice and we have one air purifier in the basement, on the main floor, and upstairs. On each of the 3 floors of the house, we have an air purifier. So Lyme and mold continue to be tested, and your lab tests that you have given us to do, we're in the middle of doing them. You're retesting many of those things, which a scientist,
Yes.
of course, has to do. You have to retest to make sure
Yes.
what changes you observe and how to tweak the protocol. So we never knew that Ujjwal had Lyme and mold issues. So that is an additional thing which no previous doctor had really treated. Okay. So what have we found? Okay. Yes, he continues to use the letterboard, and we're trying to train him on an augmentative communication device, but these are all what they call stopgaps. Ultimately, what do we want? We want him to sit in on our meetings and tell us, openly what he wants to do with his health and various things, and also interact with you and the world. So speech therapists and music therapists have told us that he has all the sounds. He has to put them together. All the phonemes, all the sounds. Now, does he have trouble with some of them? The difficult ones like ooh and ch? Yes, I mean, they're working on that. But he is capable of producing all the sounds.
Okay, and what, I remember a couple meetings ago, right? Rupa was like, Dr. Deshore, nothing. We are not seeing anything. We are not seeing any shift, any progress. And then, I had explained that sometimes it takes a few months for the infection load on the body and on the organs to reduce to a specific level in order to be able to see any kind of improvement. And then, wouldn't you know it, 2 or 3 weeks later, after that appointment, 2 or 3 weeks later, we were doing another group podcast where you and your wife were participants. And I was really overjoyed to hear that, just like that, you had started to see improvements, with his communication, with his gut, with his weight gain. So can you talk a little bit about the improvements that you've seen?
I think the best thing to do is to give some anecdotes, especially for other parents who may
Oh, right. Okay, sure.
I think the way I gave it to you, one is in the summertime, we have a saltwater pool in our backyard. He's a very good swimmer. One of the things we noticed in summer was he took the initiative went and changed his clothes, got into his swim trunks, and went and started swimming, which we had never seen before. He would always wait for us to tell him that. So that's one thing. Another thing I noticed was if he used to leave something somewhere and we asked him, where did you put it? He would never be able to recall. But with respect to his glasses, he put it somewhere and in a different place than he usually does. And I asked him, where are they? And he actually went to the place and retrieved it. Okay, so that was something. And so those are some two key things. And the communication piece appears to be worked on. And the other thing I also see, and this again should not discourage parents, but is something we should all know about, is our recent consult of 4 weeks ago, you have tweaked the protocol. You have eliminated some things. Without going into details, you have eliminated some things and added some things. And what I tell other parents is that the first piece is usually the nutritional piece, and then the other pieces. So you have very clearly in your instructions, and I tell parents to follow this, is go category by category. Okay, so where are we in this new protocol? We're still in the nutrition category. And one of the things we have discussed with you is go slowly with the protocol and be patient. One of the things I noticed was one of the new things you added was folate. 1 drop of folate and he's back to hyperactivity.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to get discouraged because of it. But what I did was me and Rupa, and Rupa is very good at being able to implement protocols step by step. What she told me was, back off on that. Let us put other things in place and then get back to that. So as we continue with the nutritional, the thing that I just started again today, which something else, was the vitamin E and cod liver oil. And I'm not noticing at this stage anything. Now, I don't know whether just 1 drop of folate leading to a lot of hyperactivity was due to die-off, or I don't know, but I'm going to put other things in the protocol and then get back to that.
That's good. That's a good way of explaining. The protocol is completely customized to Ujjwal, as you know, based on what we found in his labs, and the number of things. Yes, we are treating most of the things together, but there is always a step-by-step approach, right? BioNexus Health is a 7-step protocol where you need to do nutrition, gut support. You go on to reducing inflammation, looking at infections, and then slowly starting detox and repair and regeneration as well. So all of these things, so all of these have to be done at the right time in the right order. That is the key. Now, the important point here is, after seeing tremendous improvement, Ujjwal gained weight as well. After a very long time, he gained,
9 pounds.
Yes. How many? 8 or 9 pounds.
8 or 9 pounds, and we had never seen that. He was constant for so long. He had not lost weight, but he had not gained either.
Hadn't gained any good
So
weight.
now he has
Right.
gained again.
Right. So that brings, that brings additional healing, mitochondrial support, self-confidence to a person. So now is the right time to try a little bit of MTHFR support. Unfortunately, for many people, they start methylation support way early on in the game. And when symptoms increase, it's just swept under the carpet of, oh, well, it's just autism symptoms. You have a check. In fact, I have seen hyperactive children with autism being treated for MTHFR or methylation issues, thinking that is going to help the hyperactivity. That's not so, not if there are underlying issues. And you see, after all these months of treatment and the improvements, you're still seeing a little bit of detox reaction from that, because yes, if there is MTHFR issues, you have to go very slow. And we are just doing one drop, and that's literally nothing.
Right. So I had to stop it and go back. And we haven't even started,
Yes.
I don't think, MTHFR issues because especially when you found the Lyme and the mold,
Correct.
to treat those things first. So he has the nutrition, the
Correct.
organ support, the
the brain inflammation has to be addressed first.
yes,
And then we actually proceed with methylation, because methylation, if we address methylation early on in the game, that causes a lot of inflammation in the brain, in an already inflamed brain, right? You know, I had explained PANS, to you as
You
well.
said that'll all come later on, not now.
Right. So PANS is autoimmune. And,
Okay.
you know, autoimmunity causes additional inflammation in the brain. So handling inflammation, keeping the priority of treatment in mind becomes key, even though everything is all natural. So Ujjwal goes to school every day.
Yeah, I'll come to that. So therefore, so nutrition, then there's the anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, and the organ support. So we're still there. That's where we are.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so what was I going to say? Okay, and of course, the other thing I also want to encourage other parents is you're repeating many of the lab tests, which I'm not going to give the names, but you're repeating them. And based on those results, I think, again, further tweaking will be needed. But again, I'm going through the protocol very slowly, and I'm hoping that, as I go through the protocol, the new protocol that you've given, it will, I'll be able to get him on the full protocol pretty soon, because, your previous protocol, he was on the full protocol.
Yes.
But once you tweak, you have to go all the way back to step one and do it slowly. Okay, let's be good. Okay, goes to school. At the moment, it is, he's still doing online community college courses, so he's fine with that. At some stage, I want to send him, because when he started, it was the pandemic. Everything was closed.
That's right.
So,
yes.
That's right. So it was all online, and he continues to be online. For him to go back in person, we would like to do that, but we need a support person to take him, and for that, that'll take some time to find one who can understand his communication method.
Yes.
And be able to do that. That is why I think, if we can knock down the communication barrier, which is there, and we continue to fight that, that is going to open up quite a few things for us to,
quite a few doors. Yes.
For all of us to work on.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think that's the interesting thing. And yes, the other issues, of course, are initiation, hyperactivity, those types of things, which we continue to address, and the Lyme and mold as well.
Yes.
So yes, is there improvement? I will say yes. Do we go through the protocol slowly? I will say yes. And do we have work to do? Of course, I still say yes. Of course, we still have work to do, but we have come a certain way. We have more work to do, and we will continue working together to give Ujjwal the maximum we can give him.
Yes, I think that is very well put. That it's a marathon, not really a sprint.
Exactly. And it's important that, yourself, myself, and my wife, we all work together in harmony, because that's the most important thing, is all our eyes are on Ujjwal.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Is there anything I missed, Dr. Dashore?
No. I think I think this was quite. It went very well, and I'm really glad you were able to be here today, so other parents can benefit from your advice from another parent of a child on the spectrum.
I never give up. That's all I'd say.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much again for being here today.
And thank you for the nice conversation. And one other thing I want to say, if there's one other thing I would like to say is, if you have questions, I tell other parents, if you have questions, I would like to tell other parents, I have always used, very freely, I have used your website to ask questions. Okay. And I have to say, within 24 to 36 hours, I get a reply.
Okay.
So I encourage other parents, you have the slightest doubt, type out the question and ask.
That's right. I'm very lucky to have excellent clinical staff, and sometimes even when they're just trying to catch up on the weekends, if they get a moment, even though it's outside office hours, they will reply. So that's, yeah, good.
Absolutely.
I'm glad you have taken advantage of that, and it's been helpful.
Sure, absolutely. So is there anything other information you need from me, or
No, we are good. I'm really glad, you were here today. And I guess, we can both go for a walk and enjoy this really nice, bright and sunny Sunday afternoon today, right?
Yeah, well, it's global warming. I'm pretty sure it's global warming that is causing the temperature to go up a little
Well,
bit.
yeah, that's true. That's true as well.
So in closing, I'll just say, first of all, I wish you and your family happy holidays
You
coming
as
up.
well.
And I really look forward, where, as I said, we are continuing in the middle of all the lab tests that you prescribed. And I really look forward to meeting you on March 1st and looking at the lab results and seeing what our next step should be.
Excellent. That
I look
sounds like a
forward to that.
plan.
So that's what I really look forward to. What should we do next? What is the lab's going to tell us? So another thing I tell parents is be curious. See what those labs tell you. See what to do next. Always be looking forward to those things to see what is the next step. Because that's the way to win this battle.
Exactly. Yes. All right. Awesome.
Thank
So
you.
I'll see you in a couple months. Happy holidays to you guys as well.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
All right. Well, so that brings us to that time again. It's the end of today's podcast. Thank you for joining me. I hope to see you guys here next time. Until then, be well. Namaste.
Thank you for joining Master Herbalist Dr. Jodi A. Dashaw, Director of the BioNexus Health Clinic and BioNexus Herbals, on the BioNexus Health Podcast, where we explore and share information and stories about recovering and healing from chronic and environmental illnesses such as mold biotoxin illness, Lyme disease, autism spectrum disorder, fatigue, Crohn's and colitis, mast cell activation syndrome, PANS, and more. Please help us grow our message by subscribing to our podcast channel and sharing the podcast on your social networks. For more information, visit bionexushealth.com.
Information within this video, audio, or text, collectively known as the podcast, has not been reviewed by the FDA. Nothing within the podcast is intended as or should be construed as medical advice. Information is for general informational and educational purposes only. Consumers of the podcast should consult with their healthcare practitioners for medical recommendations. Seek the advice of a qualified healthcare provider. Do not disregard the advice of a healthcare provider based on any information from the podcast. The information within the podcast may contain information concerning dietary supplements or over-the-counter products that are not drugs. Our dietary supplement products are not intended for use as a means to cure, treat, prevent, diagnose, or mitigate any disease or other medical or abnormal condition.